Alright, I'm Mr. Waters, or Blue Waters, and today I'm going to show you how I did this. I took a picture of the outside of my classroom right next to the bulletin board. That way I can kind of figure out what it's going to look like. And those are some of my examples I found online as my inspiration to do my art mural. And I start off with a quick drawing of copying kind of what's going on there, getting some ideas. I'm trying to keep it more cartoony for this one. And so I just start drawing, trying to lay out things and see what I'm thinking. And then I go through a couple of drawings before I kind of realize, oh yeah, I wanted to do the more cartoony, like wavy one. And I think that's what I did just there. I showed that one. And so it's got more of a curve, like they're kind of coming out and they're kind of like bendy almost looking. So it gives them more of a dynamic, whimsical look to them. And then once I got that figured out, I go ahead and I draw it on my actual picture that I printed off of the wall. I like doing that. I can use this as scale to figure out where to draw it on here, and that's what I'm doing next. I'm using that paper. It doesn't come out 100% exactly how I had drawn it, but at least I had a good idea. I noticed that when I'm drawing bigger, I tend to change a few things here and there, and it just depends on when you're in the space itself. Then you kind of go, oh yeah, it looks a little better this way. My pot, I call it a pot because it looks like a pot. The little cup ended up being more like a pot and had a little rim on it, which is fine. And here I am starting to paint. That little green crayon there peeking out from behind, I end up changing that later, and I talk about that later in the video. And I like to draw from references a lot. I didn't use so much of a reference on the Sharpie, I don't think, or the permanent marker, I should say. I ran out of blue in one of my mini containers. I think I use it to mix one of my other colors, but I just noticed that there's purple when it's separated. I started to stir it, but there's purple, so there's some red in the mixture. I don't remember which blue I got. Dark cobalt blue is what it says. So there must be, I don't know what the code means. I was trying to see which one of these is red. I don't know. Clear. JLK. Someone probably knows what these mean. But look at that. I've got EL and VU. That's 320 parts and 350 parts of that. And then some of this and some of that. See, I'm not sure what the mixture means exactly. Because here's my green. 28, 28, 42, 284. So I'm assuming that would have lots of yellow and green, or I mean blue. So I don't know. Here's my purple. So it has a lot of that and a lot of that too. So I don't know what's the difference here. They don't seem like the numbers are that far apart, except it has a lot of whatever this number in the middle is. So anyways, thought I'd show you mixing this up. It's kind of cool to watch all this mix up. That's what they call nowadays the satisfying videos, right? Here's my satisfying video. Watch me mix paint back up so I can use it. Look how blue that looks once you start mixing it up. I like to scrape the sides in, make sure I got everything, and then I scrape the bottom, and then just mix it up really good. I'm doing like a like when you mix your eggs and you're going to the bottom and back up and like ovally loops. Yeah, just mix it up really good. And then I'll scrape all this, let it dribble into one of my cups, and I'll be ready to touch up my blue out there. Got it pretty good. Whew, much easier with that machine at Home Depot, right? So I was about to say I like to keep art red, yellow, and blue, probably because I made my song like that, and I like blue, and I heard a song made by someone that was called the Red Yellow Blues, talking about the primary colors. So I made my own little song about primary colors. I'll probably post that soon. Someone suggested I should. Anyways, so here I start scumbling, and I'm going to talk about that. Alright. Thought I'd show you a little bit what I'm trying to do here. I'm just trying to give it a highlight here. And I'm mostly dry brush. Just trying to give it a nice little bright area through here. And it's, with all the texture on the wall, I'm trying to kind of scumble it into the texture so the texture doesn't show. If you just kind of go like that, you can see all the little bumps. So I'm just kind of going back and forth trying to get into the little orange peel texture there, so it's not so visible. You know, obviously in here it's a little trickier because I got the letter I'm trying to work around. I will touch that up with a little more red later. Interesting how that red was brighter until it dried. I did get a new red because I wasn't happy with the original red I got. I just picked it off the I got it at Home Depot, so it was the little cards you show the person. And then I went back and I asked for a small can, and I said, "Hey, can we try to just put only the red dye in the paint?" And the guy figured it out and did it for me. And that's actually a much better red. I touched up the other mural on my other video for the outside of the art room. So I'm just trying to scumble it because I already got a base of purple. I can just kind of let some of this purple come through, and I can create a highlight right in this area. Some of my purple's mixing with the other purple. No big deal. Now this is wall paint, so it's a little different to work with than regular acrylics, and it is gloss, so it makes it kind of hard to paint on top of the other gloss sometimes. I've actually had it on the other door I worked on outside, where the paint, when I started wiping it down or something, it's actually started to peel up in a spot. So I try to scuff it up a little bit if I am trying to touch up, especially if it's dried and it's been dry for a while. You want to make sure to kind of scrub it down with a little scrub like you would wash your dishes. That seems to work okay. I'm getting a lot of that paint that I did here earlier when I was trying to touch up the base color. Trying to get a little shade under here, like a little shadow. I don't know if I want to put a little bit of this in there or not. I'm still trying to figure out if I want to go ahead and do some of this all around here and leave that dark over here. I kind of got to transition from this lighter color. Originally I didn't want to go too dark with it. That purple always tends to be a darker color than I'm expecting. I mean, it is basically red and blue mixed together. You can see all the orange peel. But I'm liking how it's turning out so far. I'm going to look up a reference picture for that guy. Maybe that guy, or I can just grab one of my brushes in there. Now I try to pick out all the tools that I normally use in the art room with my students. Obviously crayons, colored pencils. That's supposed to be a regular pencil. My pencils have a blue paint on them. Rulers. I'm got a bigger brush, Sharpie. Well, permanent marker. Regular markers. This is the one thing that I just added because we do paint, but I don't use paints out of tube like those. They're usually out of bottles, and I don't usually use acrylics with the kids unless they're older and maybe in my art clubs. But at least it signifies, or it symbolizes, I should say, that we do use paint. And I know I use blue, and we got a lot of blues. I didn't have too many secondary colors in here. I had a green. I don't have any orange. I don't know. Maybe I can put some orange in the background behind stuff. So I'll do some, I'm thinking about doing some splotches, like little splot here, there, whatever. I'm thinking about making that come over here more, so it's not so like a fan out there. And these numbers are more in the middle, so I think it would make more sense to bring that in just a little bit on the top. And I think I'll do that with using a little splotch of color up there. Alright, let me keep going. So all my highlights were on the left side, leaving the edges a little bit darker to create that 3D effect. And I did go through and make sure that all of them had the left side of the form, mostly cylinders. And eventually I do end up taking some either reference pictures, or maybe I brought the brush out with me. I don't remember exactly what I did, but I think I might have taken pictures at one point. And making sure that my light source was on the left side as well. Alright, so here I'm starting the blobs on the outside. That was the red one and the orange one. Now I was using my laptop for one of the time lapses and my phone for the other one. I think at one point my phone died. And there's the other one. That one on the right is actually my phone. Alright, I got green next to green, which I was thinking about putting green next to the yellow, but then I needed something over here. So that's still drying, but I'm thinking I'm going to switch that green crayon to an orange, because I already have a green marker over here peeking behind next to the orange. I don't know if the camera can tell that that's orange. It looks red in my screen. That's the red. That's orange, green. So I wasn't really paying attention too much to the color balancing. I was just trying to put blobs of paint behind. It came out a little different than when I was picturing at first. But now I think this would be better if it was orange, since I have the primary color ones, red, yellow, and blue. And I have green. I have a purple cup. It almost looks like a flower pot. I was wondering if I should change that, but I think it's fine for now. And I do have purple up there too. Red, blue, green blob, yellow blob. I even darkened that up with a little bit of orange, so it would be a little bit different than this yellow. And then I do have orange there, so I could probably balance it out by putting orange there instead. So I'm almost there. After I get done with touching up the paint, I'm going to go ahead and start with the black outlining. And I'm not sure how much of this I want to spend on trying to make it look right. I'm going to have to go find a reference picture or just kind of touch up these little grooves because it looks kind of see-through right now. I don't know. I'll get some different grays in there. Maybe touch up that a little bit, but I'm okay. Especially from far away, and everything's looking pretty good. So I ended up taking out my hair dryer to kind of speed things up I did need a couple layers to cover up that orange over the green. I didn't try to prime it or whatever with white first and then try to go with the orange. I just went for it and try to cover it up pretty good, and it worked out. Here I am on the ladder. Took out the ladder to get up high, trying to speed things up with that dryer again. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with this one. All right, I'm not very happy with how the lines are turning out. I used those two pens there. That big one is all worn out. It's all frayed on the end. It was working okay at first, but it's like running out of ink. Not getting very good straight lines for some reason. Maybe I'm just off. My hand was slipping or sticking. I don't know. I might have to touch those up. I don't want to ruin the whole thing. I need to do lines everywhere. So I'm just going to try doing this script brush, I think it's called. 1/4-inch long brush. I was practicing in there on a palette. See how that goes. I'm going to try to touch up the letters, maybe do that letter and see how it comes out. Finish that for sure and then go from there. So if I remember right, I did use the brush to try to touch up all those, and I ended up making them extra thick on the bottom, kind of like a little shadow layer. And then I just ended up either buying another pen or I found a different paint pen, and I ended up finishing all the lining with the pen anyways. And that's how I ended up drawing those lines for the ruler. I didn't add any extra little lines, just I think it was just those. And here are the final artsy shots of the mural. Enjoy. Stay creative.